Hello, and welcome to some deep cleaning, organizing, and decluttering motivation. I've got 2 full days of cleaning motivation packed into this just under 1 hour video, so we're doing a little bit of a marathon. This is something new for me, a different week. If you have been around, then you know that this is not my house, and I want to do something a little bit different this week. I am deep cleaning my parents' house. They do so much for me. Oftentimes, they are the reason that I get to work on projects around my own house by hanging out with my kids and just helping me out in every way that they can. And I want to thank them for even letting me come in and film in their house. So you can see here, I'm starting with a fairly clean slate. I wasn't even sure there was going to be that much for me to do, but what you are joining me for is taking on some of the deeper areas that you might not notice from afar. I want to do some spring cleaning for them, get some of the areas that they don't have the time to show as much love to, and or might just be more difficult to clean. I brought some of my favorite cleaning tools over, so I'm going to be sharing those with you. Everything will be linked down below, but let's get started cleaning here in the kitchen. Day 1 of the cleaning, my dad is here watching Britton as I clean, and I had a small list of things that I knew that I wanted to do for sure, and a few things that I asked my mom, like what she wanted me to make sure that I got to, and one of them was the windows, the window tracks, because I've got this fancy new tool that I have been dying to try out, and I'm so excited to use, and I'm going to show it off, I think, a little bit more in another video when I very first opened it up. So this is really my second time using it, but this is my new Bissell Steam Shot, and I still don't know what all the attachments do, but I know that I love it. While that was heating up, I went ahead and gave this area a quick wipe down just to get all of the dust and things that would come off easily off first. I'm using the steamer for the more stubborn areas. There wasn't a clear plan of attack here. I kind of just moving left to right in the kitchen. I like to work top to bottom if I remember to, and my ADHD doesn't just have me jump in wherever. So starting here at the window, if you've never seen a steam cleaner before, this is amazing. I am cleaning using just water. It is what it sounds like. It's shooting hot water, steam, and it's able to just bust that dirt out of the tracks. Kind of makes it easier to get to some of those places you can't reach with a rag normally. TikTok definitely influenced me to buy this one, so don't feel bad if you want to run to Amazon and get one too, because that is exactly what I did. Can't remember how long my parents said it had been since they cleaned out these tracks, but I feel like it's been a minute, and no judgment at all because the tracks at my house are just as bad and they are not clean now, which is funny. I had a tough time figuring out when to call it quits on each window because I found that when I'm cleaning areas for other people, I kind of turn into a perfectionist and I don't know when to stop because I could spend literally the entire day here trying to get every last speck of dirt off. But I knew that I needed to use my time more wisely so that I could tackle as many areas as possible. So at some point, I just had to call it quits in trying to get every last bit of dirt, but it is definitely so much better than when we started, and you will see that in the before and afters. So cleaning the glass now, inside and outside, I'm using the Spray Away glass cleaner. Moving right along to the microwave, this piece accidentally fell off on me when I was wiping something down, so that worked out because I got to spray that and leave it and let the Dawn Power Wash do its job while I'm doing the inside of the microwave. Just gonna use the Dawn Power Wash in there again and my favorite Scrub Daddy. I brought a couple along so that I could leave my parents with a new one. Hands down, my favorite sponge to use anywhere when I'm cleaning pretty much anything. I feel like I don't have to tell you about it if you don't know about Scrub Daddies, you're sleeping on those. I realize what's cool about this week is I can tell you a little bit more about myself because you are seeing the house that I grew up in. We moved to this house when I was in second grade, so I spent a majority of my life here. Went through middle school, high school, college years, pretty much everything. And now my husband and I live just about 3 to 4 minutes down the road with our 3 girls. And we get to come here and bring our kids here. And it's just crazy that everything has come back around full circle. And I've cleaned all these areas before. This is the house I grew up cleaning. Every Saturday morning I had to wake up, get that vacuum, and usually I was in charge of the kids' bathroom. I had an older brother and a younger sister. I was the middle child, and my mom, I think, noticed that I was the only one that actually cleaned the bathroom well, and that's why I was in charge of it. Funny enough, though, this is the house where I realized that I have a passion for organizing and cleaning, and my parents noticed that as well. My mom used to actually pay me to organize like certain areas for her, like her closet or the linen closet. If I was, trying to make more money, earn more money to buy something, that's what I would do. And then a lot of times when they would leave on a trip or something, go away for the weekend, whatever, I love to surprise them by deep cleaning things. And that is so far before YouTube or anything. Like I was a child and they would leave and I would deep clean the dishwasher, which I didn't even know that was like a thing. I just started, I think wiping it down and realized you could take it apart, and oh my gosh, isn't that crazy? I just love doing that. If I was like a people pleaser and I wanted the attention probably because I was a middle child. But every time my parents went out to dinner, I would surprise them by having the living room and the table and everything cleaned up when they got home. And I'm not saying that to brag. I just think that that's funny now because I love doing that now. And I remember one time when I was driving, with my mom was driving me somewhere, and she was like just joking about what I would be when I grew up, and she was like, you should be a professional organizer just because that's what you're so good at. And I was like, that's not even a job. Like, people can't do that. You can't just like organize stuff for a living. And how funny is it now that is what I do? I'm literally on here organizing stuff because of you guys. The fact that you guys support me is the reason that I'm able to do that. But it's crazy that even exists. I would have never thought that was real. Even there's like professional organizers out there now, like the home edit. That is probably what my dream job would have been as a child. I know, I'm weird, but isn't that crazy? I just thought that'd be fun to share. As you can see though, I'm deep cleaning the oven. I personally hate cleaning ovens, but they are very satisfying to clean. Oven cleaning hack, if you didn't know this, you can actually pop the door of your oven off and it can make it easier to reach in and cleaning the back of the oven. Of course, I didn't do that on this day, but I just wanted to share that if you ever, wanted to really get in there. I ended up cleaning the door several times and it still needed to get scraped off with the razor tool. That's really what is the best way to get those burnt on things off. Fun fact about my dad, he just recently retired from directing a preschool for the past 35, I usually get this wrong, let's go with 35 years, which is crazy. I went to that preschool, my brother and my sister and I all went there. I used to work there when I was in college, and now my kids go there. How wild is that? And they have a few of the same teachers that I even had. But now that he is home and has a lot more free time, he's getting to take on some of the projects that have been put off because he spent so much time. My dad was so amazing and gave so much of his life and time to the preschool and to the families that went through there. He is just overall the best dad and papa that I could ask for me and for my girls. But that's not what I'm talking about. Anyway, I was just saying, now that he has time at home, he's been taking on projects and he's been able to organize some of the spaces and go through things that have been put off because he has never had the time to do it. So there's some of the spaces that I don't even need to get to because he's done them already. Like the pantry, he was able to, I think that was one of the first things that he did. He's actually outside working on, I think he was painting something. Oh no, he was building a garden, a raised garden bed on this day. He's got a few of them out in the yard and the girls love to help him plant the garden during the summer. And hopefully this summer, the zucchini will do better than last year and they'll be able to make a bunch of zucchini bread, because one of the things that the girls love doing with my mom is baking. They bake classic grandma style, I know, but they bake so much together, cookies, whatever you name it. She has the master of all baked goods. And a few summers ago, they had this just abundance of zucchini, and my mom and Emerson made zucchini bread. It felt like every week of the summer, and she ended up like freezing it too because there was so much zucchini bread. And then the next year there was nothing. I think they made maybe 1 to 2 loaves of bread the whole summer. So I'm interested to see what this summer brings, now that he's got more garden going on, and I know that the girls are excited to do that. And I am cleaning the fridge out just because I noticed that there was some just natural fridge dirtiness, and I took everything out of there and cleaned it. And as I was cleaning, I was realizing like my fridge at home is so dirty, and that's what I realized when I got home on this day is, oh my gosh, I need to clean out my fridge. So I'm even getting motivation to clean my own spaces from making this video. Hopefully you guys are getting motivated as well. Pretty this sunlight was coming in through this window. That's one of the things I always loved about this kitchen, is the direction that it faces. The sunlight in this window, and then over in the little by the table, the dining table, you'll see later, there's a lot of windows in this room, and it's just one of my memories of growing up was always Saturday mornings or just any morning in here is so pretty because of because of how the sunlight is. Anyway, I'm talking to my mom while I'm cleaning these out and making sure that I'm putting things back where they actually go as I take everything out. And for some reason, I could not figure these drawers out. It took me a hot second to remember how to get them back into the fridge. My mom was helping me out. All these appliances, actually the whole kitchen has been recently renovated. That's why you can see the green painter's tape around. My dad's still working on it, but he just painted the cabinet. So you're seeing some freshly painted, really pretty cabinets in here. I love the colors that they chose. And then the appliances they've updated slowly over the years. This is black stainless steel, I think that's what it's called. I really like the look of it. This is really the first week that I've spent in here with this kitchen, and it's so pretty. I love the plants that they have in the window. It still feels like home to me because I grew up here, but it's like homey. I love the vibe that with the little yellow pops my dad added. I think the backsplash in countertops might be in the plans eventually, but I'm not sure. But he still needs to paint the bottom of the cabinets, which is why he left that tape up. I wanted to rip it down so badly, but I did not, and I'm proud of myself for that self-control. I didn't find as much dirt in the freezer just because I don't think there's as much coming and going in there. Just the bottom part needed wiped out. And then I got to clean off the front of the fridge, which is actually fun because I have been wanting to try the Sprayway stainless steel spray, which is like the glass cleaner that I use, but apparently it's specifically for stainless steel, and I haven't been able to find it at any of the stores. And then I walked into the garage and they had it, so I was excited to try that here. I want to try it out on my own fridge at home. It worked well, and it left the fridge very spotless and shiny and no streaks. Just popping in now to check up on you guys. How are we doing with the cleaning? Are you cleaning along with me? Let me know in the comments what you guys are working on today, or are you just relaxing and taking in some satisfying cleaning? I love to clean along with other people's cleaning videos, but I also just like to watch them at night to calm my mind down when my house is a mess. And for the record, I feel like I never know how much I should be talking during these videos, if I'm just, annoying everyone with the voiceovers, and I should just leave you alone, let you clean and do your thing, or if you like more talking through the videos. One of the channels that I've been watching recently is Jamie's Journey, and she does something that I like, which is sharing her highs and lows every week in her videos. So I wanted to bring that here. It's also something I do with the girls every day when we're riding in the car. Charlie loves sharing her highs and lows immediately after school, but she also likes to do her own home version of highs and lows. So her highs and lows from the school day and her highs and lows of her day in general. But I thought I would share my highs and lows from this week, and then you guys can leave me a comment down below with your highs and lows. Just a fun way that we can connect. Let's see here. I gotta think though, because every week is generally a blur for me. Let's go with lows first, just so that we end on a high note. My lows for the week was, for the majority of the last several days, it has been so rainy and cold here in Indiana, and we got so many tastes of spring that it's just so hard when the weather switches back to being cold, because you're thinking it's over and it's never over. It always comes back. So rainy and cold. I also injured my Achilles heel today when I was trying to get a package off the porch, which who does that? I am the queen of random injuries, and I think I embarrassed myself in front of a good amount of my neighbors because the door caught me on the way back in, and I kind of threw the package and I landed, and I was just hiding, embarrassed. And anyway, so those are my lows. My highs for the week: I got so many videos done. I got a lot of work done. It was really productive. I felt like I've been in a good groove. If you've noticed, I've been posting more on all my social media accounts. If you're not following me over on TikTok and Instagram, I post a lot through the week. I try to post something every day on one of them. So that's going on throughout the week. And then my cleaning videos are every Saturday now. And if I have an extra one, I sneak it in on a Wednesday. So if you're new, hit subscribe so you're not missing everything. But a couple of my highs that were unrelated to work: Charlie finally got down a cartwheel. She taught herself how to do it completely on her own, just kept doing them over and over, and she has almost perfected it. So that was one of my highs I remember on one of the days. And then another day this week, Britton has been getting so close to walking, which I don't know if that's actually good or bad, because she is already into so many things. She is walking now. She'll walk with just holding one hand, which is so fun to see. I love seeing her little head go by when she's walking with someone. And she actually stood for 1 full minute by herself, and she is so, she was so proud of herself. You could see it in her face. She loved when we cheered her on, and her big sisters are her biggest cheerleaders. They love seeing all the new milestones that she hits. So that was a high. I loved seeing that. And we got to spend a lot more time at my parents' house this week because I was here filming, and that was just a lot of fun. This is my parents' mail corner where they drop their keys, mail, and all of that. I didn't really want to go through and declutter it because I did not know what they needed. I'm hoping that by cleaning it up a little bit, maybe my mom or dad will go through it this week if they have the time to. But I also think that's something that they do like constantly. So I just wanted to clean the area. I moved everything, wiped it, and put it back. And now I get to do the vacuuming on the floors. I did not bring my vacuum with me because I really wanted to try out theirs. They have this Shark corded vacuum and I think it does so well on the carpets. And I really liked the attachment, the attachments that it came with, but the tool, like how the top part comes off and then it pops back in. I don't know. I was skeptical, but just because the shape of it looked so weird, it kind of looked unstable. I remember when my dad bought it, but I love that it has light on the bottom and it feels like an overall really powerful vacuum. We actually used to have a Shark. I think that was one of the first vacuums that Nick and I had, and it did really well. If you go back to my first cleaning videos, that's probably the one I was using, but I remember when it broke, we bought one that we thought was like an upgrade. It was similar and it just did not do as well. So I've just been out of the Shark game for a little while, but I really like this vacuum. I didn't have any dishes to do, which was nice, but I still wanted to give the sink a good clean. I went in with the Dawn Power Wash first, and then I wanted to shine it up a little bit with the Barkeeper's Friend. I brought the liquid version that I have. I'm a really big fan of it, especially on these stainless steel sinks, which is what we used to have. So it's been a minute since I've got to clean one, and I feel like it just leaves it all nice and shiny. And I scrubbed this down, and then I even dried it because I just wanted to see how pretty it could be. Another favorite tool I brought over is my O-Cedar spin mop. Never leave home without it. That's not true. I think that they usually use a Swiffer in here, so I wanted to give it a good mopping. Everyone's house could always use a good mopping. This is the version that keeps the clean water separate. So when you spin it, the dirty water goes into the bottom and then the clean water is kept in the blue part. However, I will say though, I did get something new this week. If you're over on TikTok, you probably would have seen it. I'm not quite sure how much time I'll be spending with this O-Cedar. It'll still be around forever, but I am really loving the new thing that I've tried out. We are now entering what we joke with my dad is the room of mini clocks. At some point, he started collecting them and just putting them on the wall. I don't know how many there are in here, but if you count them, let me know. And yes, many of them do chime. I think that he set them, they're either turned off or he kind of offset them so they don't all go off at the same time. But at some point, I think they did, and it was a bit wild. Really didn't spend too much time in here. I tried to move pretty quickly through here because there wasn't a lot to focus on. I just dusted everything, and then I wanted to do the floors in this room, but I wanted to save time so that I could spend it carpet cleaning over in the living room. This is the front room in the house. It was one big room, but my dad, I think around the time when we first moved into this house, he built that little partition wall that you'll see with the little glass cubes in it, so that it gives a little bit of separation to the area. The front room with these red couches is like the sitting area, and they have the conversational room, and then the formal dining room where we have where we have Christmas morning, and actually sometimes Thanksgiving, and is the fancy table you see over on the other side of the room. I'm gonna have to ask my dad, but I actually think he took some of the clocks out. A few years back, they had most of the house painted all to this matching neutral color, and then on the floors downstairs, they replaced them. I think this whole area was carpet and a linoleum, and they switched it out for this pretty dark wood. I love that the planks are alternating. Some of them are skinny, some of them are wider, and I like the textured ridges that you can see in it. The tricky thing about dark wood floors, though, is that they show everything, all of the dust, all of the hair. So I imagine that they probably have to vacuum a little bit more frequently. I think that our lighter wood floors hide the dirt really well at our house, but I love the look of dark wood floors too. This is the half bathroom that is when you first enter through the garage, so used a lot. I'm taking this steamer to this whole area. My mom had mentioned some of the spots on the marble. I think there were some spots in the back that were just more of like a caked on dust, just kind of something sticky, probably soap or something dried there at one point, I'm guessing. So this did really well on here. And then I dusted the rest of the bathroom. There's always this cobweb that forms in the back because some daddy long legs. So I got him, RIP, he's gone now. I dusted the baseboards in here, really gave everything a wipe down. making our way back over to the living room now and showing you the damage that Britton did on the day that she spent here hanging out with both of my parents. I'm picking it all back up. I think she was doing a little pillow fort or something. And I really want to give these carpets a deep clean because they've had them put in a couple years ago, but I think that we've never shampooed them and used a carpet cleaner on them. Brought my carpet cleaner over and we got some good dirty water out of the carpet. There are some really random areas in this home that just have things left over from years ago. Like this bin underneath of here is full of DVDs. I do not think that they're using the DVDs anymore, but I looked through them and I found High School Musical, Harry Potter, and some other classics. Here's my little helper up from her nap. I'm very excited to see the vacuum cord. We're both watching her very closely, I promise. But vacuuming is my favorite part to watch in cleaning videos and probably my favorite part to do in my own. I just love vacuum lines. There's something so satisfying about it. And this carpet had some really nice ones. This was fun to vacuum. So Mom and Dad, if you ever want me to come over and vacuum again, I will happily just chill out and vacuum. We are nearing the end of day one here. My mom was super awesome and she actually took Charlie to school that morning and then picked Charlie up so that I could focus on the cleaning. And then she ran over to my house and grabbed Emerson off the bus, brought her here. So all the girls ended up playing here for a while I was finishing up some of the things. I didn't know I was going to come back for day two. So I was kind of panicking, realizing I was not getting to all of the things that I had on my list. And I started doing this window track or the sliding door track here because I know it was one of the things that my mom really mentioned, and it was definitely a big before and after. This whole area has seen so much open and closed during the summer. They keep the door open a lot, letting the breeze in. So I know this dirt has built up and collected over the last several years here, I'm guessing. This was very satisfying to spray out with this steamer. It got pretty messy. I just kept wiping. There were so many different crevices and areas. Again, after a while, I just had to tell myself that it was okay to stop cleaning this because I was never going to get every little bit of dirt, but I definitely enjoyed my time here. The last thing that I did here for the day was clean the carpets because I didn't want the girls playing on them while we were wet. So I saved it for right before we left and went home. I think this was a ballet night. So we left, I got there in the morning about 9, and then we left about 4 probably to go get our ballerinas ready for ballet. They've got a recital this week. So as you can see, they've got a lot of seating. They always have people over and we hang out here a lot. So I wanted to focus on the area where feet are a lot, which is obviously right in front of all of the seating. So I went over the spots in front of every chair and sofa several times to make sure that those were the cleanest area. And then our girls are probably the ones that spend the most time on the floor. So I went through the floor area as well a few times. And what I love about this vacuum cleaner is that you can click it into a dry only mode. So as you push it forward, it's letting water out. And then as you pull it back, it is drying and sucking the water back into the dirty tank. But you can choose to have it run on just the dry only mode. So after I go over everything, I usually like to go back over everything on just the dry mode so that the carpet is not left ever feeling too wet. And then this dried overnight. I wish that I would have been able to do a second round on this. Or a second day cleaning of this. So I might bring this back on another day and go back over it just to see how much better it is the second time. On to day 2, picking up where I left off and putting this coffee table trunk back where it was. Now that the carpets are dry, it smelled so nice in the room. Like I said, I wasn't planning on coming back for day 2, but I mentioned to my mom I didn't finish some of the things, and she goes, "It's okay, you can come back tomorrow." So we are starting here with the things that I wished I would have gotten to, and that was just more of the window tracks because I know that those really needed the attention. And this little bay window here in the summertime and in the springtime, these windows are open a lot, so this is dirt that they would see a lot. So I'm spending most of the morning here. I think we were here on day 2 until about 2:30, probably right when I had to go get M. I am going to show you guys some speed cleaning of all of these windows, and I'm just doing the same thing that I did on the first day. I feel like I got the technique a little bit better, and I realized I didn't need to use the steam cleaner on every spot. Sometimes it was better for the tricky areas, but sometimes just spraying it with like a regular cleaner worked just as well. After doing so many windows, and I still didn't get to all the windows that I wanted to, the front room windows I didn't get to touch, but I don't think they open those windows very often, so it wasn't as worried about them. But after doing so many window tracks, my fingers, the front, like the tips of the first 3 fingers were sore the next day, and they still mildly are now a few days later. I just don't, like, I pressed into all of the seams to try to get the gunk out. I also was able to pop out the screens on a few of the windows. One of them was backwards and a little bit tricky, but I popped them out if I could, and I steamed around the edges of them as well. Okay, cleaning up this little dining area. I've spent hours and hours at this table. If you look closely, you can see some of my math homework probably etched into it from just writing too hard. There is probably little bits of pink paint from nail polish done here. So many meals where I had to sit there as a picky eater and suffer through casseroles. So many family dinners and hilarious ones, and then teenage ones where we didn't want to share anything about our day, and my parents talked to each other nicely, and now I feel bad, but I'm also a little bit afraid for my future because I know what's coming. If you grew up having a lot of family dinners where you all sat down together each night, did you have a seat that was always your seat at dinner? Like I have, it wasn't assigned, but just because we're creatures of habit, or I was so particular, we all had seats that were our seats. Like dad sat over here, mom sat on this side, I had my seat, and my sister was next to me, and then my brother was on the opposite side and he had the whole side to himself. And for years and years and years, those were our seats. So it's weird that still, like, to this day, when we eat there, in the back of my head, I'm like, that is my seat, girl. Why are you sitting there if anybody else is there? My point was that this is a special table. So they've had this table since we lived in our old house, probably before I was born, and it has done them so well. I know my mom wants to like sand it down and redo it, but man, this table just brings back so many memories. And right above it is the chandelier my mom mentioned. When you turn the lights on, you could see the little buggies that had fallen in there and died. So I wanted to try and get those out. It was a little bit tricky. I never talked about this, but I was listening to a podcast while I was cleaning most of the time. Day one, I was listening to a true crime podcast that one of my friends sent me, and it actually took place in Indiana. It was kind of freaky because all of the places they were mentioning were not far from where we are, so it was a little bit eerie, but it took place in the 80s. It was a cold case. I love listening to podcasts while I'm cleaning. I don't typically do true crime because it a little bit freaks me out, but I love it if I can handle it on the day. And this day I was listening to another one that I love, which is Armchair Expert. And I love the Armchair Anonymous stories. After this room, I got to move on to what was probably my favorite part, which was pulling everything out of the coat closet. I love organizing a space, and that was the only good organization I gave. I know that there are several areas that my mom would love if I helped out in organizing them upstairs. So maybe if this video does well and you guys like this video, or comment down below, let me know if you want me to come back and do some organizing for my parents upstairs and show that. I know my mom would love it. For the most part, this closet just holds coats and board games, but there's actually a closet upstairs that has more board games, so I just picked a few that I know are more likely to be played to keep down in this closet. And then I brought these baskets over from our house to organize the hats and the gloves, and then the cards went into one of the baskets as well. And Dad, this is your reminder, if you're watching this, to go through your coats that are down here because you have way too many. Mom, super proud of you, minimal girl. You only have like 4 coats in there and the rest are from my dad. Down below, I found this cube unit upstairs in a closet that wasn't really being used, and I wanted to have a space for them to put the board games down here. But I also could not decide if I wanted it on the side or if I should flip it up because I needed to ask them if they wanted to store their vacuum in here. I think that flipping it up on the side would be really good, and there was just enough room under the coats so that if they wanted to be able to put the vacuum in here, they could leave it in here. But I left it like this too, so if they wanted to put shoes on the other side or something like that, they could. This was really quick to go through, and I love when a space is quick, and I feel like it was a good, makes such a big difference in your day when you can come into your house and drop your coats down in an area and actually be able to hang your coat up and it's not cluttered and stuff like that. Only other thing I did in this closet was just organize it so that my dad's coats were on the left and my mom's coats were on the right. I think that's how they naturally do it. If you made it this far into the video, I want to give you such a big hug. I never make videos this long, so I don't really know how it will be received, but I hope that this was a lot of motivation for you guys and you can get some good ideas, maybe some new cleaning hacks, or try something new. Also want to shout out to my parents. I love you both so much, and thank you for letting me film your home and put it on the internet, as scary as that may be. Thank you guys so much. I have a lot of things. If you are new, I would love it if you stuck around and subscribed. I have a lot of cleaning coming up, as well as some room renovations. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, happy cleaning!